Kasun, what is Microsoft Power Platform?
Yeah, Power Platform is the single low-code development platform from Microsoft across Office 365 and Dynamics 365, Azure. So yeah, it has four major products, as you can see: uh, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent. So the Power BI is actually the business analytics part of it, right? And it's where you can visualize your data. And Power Apps is the application development platform where you can develop your mobile applications, right? You can develop applications where you can use in probably in your laptops or probably in your devices that you use, or like mobiles, or probably you can use it on the tablets or something like that, right? And then the Power Automate is where you actually automate, right? All the processes you can actually automate some mundane tasks that you can actually use to automate. So that's where you can automate your task actually. And it also has something like robotic process automation as well, and it has like 300 plus over built-in connectors with that. And let's look at what the Power Virtual Agent does, right? It's actually intelligent virtual agent bot, which is actually low code way to create the chatbots, right? And you wouldn't need to be a data scientist to create these chatbots. So you simply need to utilize that platform which is being given by Microsoft, and it also connect with what you call the bot framework as well. So this has been coming from a long time back. So the Power Virtual Agent is quite new, but bot framework was there for a long time, and it will also not only answer your Q&A questions, but it will also can do some actions. So later on the demo part of it, we can see like how it can do some kind of actions, like if you want the bot to ask and send some emails or something like that, you can ask your virtual agent bot to do these things. And then if you want to actually take update a record or something like that, you can actually use Power Virtual Agent to update a record. So these are the capabilities which is inbuilt coming from the Power Virtual Agent. So it's not only for the low code as well, but if you are if you can also, if you have a bot framework previously built and you want to add in the skill as well, so you could do that using the Power Virtual Agent. So it's really enriched in that point of view, and it has a lot of data connectors to connect. And then you have AI builder on top of that. So the AI builder will have all these built-in AI models so that you can actually utilize those models as well. So common data service is there as well. So the common data service, what it does is it's kind of a database that you can store all your data and stuff like that. So you can actually leverage on common data service where it comes to the Power Apps and Power Automate. All it's interconnected and interrelated and stuff like that. So this is really powerful platform which you can build your low code applications. But whenever we say it's low code, it's also for high-end developers as well. So if you, for an example, if you have built some Azure services or something like that as a pro developer, you could actually call it natively in Power Apps. So it's actually very rich in that sense, right? So these are the components as well. Like if you ask me on those question, that question on the Microsoft Power Platform, so these are the capabilities that we have. And I think it would be really good that we can go through and demonstrate each individual capabilities within using one scenario that would really add understanding on someone who wants to understand or who wants to learn on our platform to get it more simplified, and show in terms of these components what it can be done in terms of capabilities. So let's see a scenario. Let's take a scenario where we have an employee called Kelly, and she actually need to do a leave request because she's actually sick, so she needs to do a leave request. So what we can do is we can actually build an app. So that's the app is actually Power Platform using Power Apps, and it's actually a Canvas app. So the Canvas app has been built for Kelly to create leave requests. So this will be the application that she will be accessing, and then she probably feels sick, and then she would say, okay, I want to go in and enter the leave request so that my manager will get that leave request, right? So what she will do is she will click on sick, and then she will probably say maybe maybe let's say 20th is the day that I'm not going to come because I'm sick. So probably I can give a reason or something like that under the title. So I'll say sick leave, right? And then click apply for leave. So what it does is actually, so the application will go back and fire up an email back to the manager or the administrator, right? So this will create an email fire back to them for their approval. So it's going to be sitting in there. And this is a Canvas app. And then it also has an app which we built for administrators, right? So this is for the users, but for the administrators, there's another app. So that's where this record will be coming up, right? So let's go to that app. So this is the app actually built using the model driven, right? So the model driven is actually using CDS data, common data service data, so that's where this is being used. And if you refresh the system, you probably will see that new record which has just entered to the system will be appearing here. So let's give it a refresh, and then we will see that data is coming in here. That's the record that we were looking after. So that's been coming to the system. So it's been in progress. So just now Kelly entered that record. So if you see that the status is still in progress, so if manager hasn't approved it, but it's in the system, so that's the administrator that be looking into the system, they can access that record, right? So if you look at this, well, it has actually several views. You can see all the leave requests. So you can see approved employee leave requests. Or you can see the cancelled leave request. And you can also see your in progress leave request as well. So this is the one which is actually pending for the manager to be approved. So if you look at the mail, so there has been new email actually came into administrator or the manager. So they can actually go into the Outlook and then click on approve and then say approve. So you can give a brief description, or you can simply say approve, or you can actually enter just approve without entering any comment and then click submit. So that will actually what it does is it'll approve this. So if you look at that last record, that's been actually approved, right? So once the manager enter the approve, so it's been approved. So what we can see also as well, it'll be actually posting back to the teams as well, teams channel. So if you look at the teams also, they have a separate channel for notifying if any employee takes a sick leave as such. If you come into the leave approval notification under the teams, you would see that new notification of Kelly's leave actually being highlighted under this channel. So there's been a message sent from the Power Automate to Teams that it's saying that Kelly Crowd is actually on leave, sick, and from which date to which date, and it's been notified to everyone. So it's actually rich because it can send back to Microsoft Teams. So from the same flow. So later on, probably we can look at how we did that. So that in the same flow, which actually update the status as well as it send back to the Microsoft Teams. So that's really rich in that terms, the capabilities. And what it does is as well, so that part has been done. So what we also need to look at is the visualization of the data. Power BI is actually the place where you can visualize the data and such. So this is the report in terms of the analyzing. So you can do the analyzing of your data using Power BI. So if you notice that this has all the what you call the types of leaves that we actually had, and from which employees, and you have the different types of leaves, so you can actually slice and dice based on the leave type, right? And then it will be filtered on based on those filtrations. And if you say sick, so if you want to see multiple as well, you could. So it gives you a capability of slicing and dicing data, and it's very rich in that sense that you can have data coming from CDS to the Power BI and then refresh it over. Yeah, so that's the visualization part of it. There's a lot of things that you can do using Power BI. So it's a rich visualization tool, which also integrates with a lot of other products as well, so that you can build ML, AL models, and such as that, and then you can connect to Azure Synapse, and you can do lots of BI tooling, and you can do a lot of predictions stuff as well. So it's a really rich product which connects with a lot of variety of products from Microsoft, and then it can give you that additional capability of looking at the data in a different perspective, and forecasting your data, and really getting your insights and act on top of your insights that what you get from the Power BI, right? So that's where you visualize. And if you look at the Power Virtual Agent, so that's where the Power Virtual Agent come in. So in terms of the scenario wise, what we need to think about is that we actually um, we actually visualize the data. So let's say probably as a Kelly, probably I'm interested on knowing that what are the actual leaves that I have had, all the leave requests that I had. So isn't it going to be good that we can have a chat bot and have a chat to the bot, and then there's various services that it can provide, and out of which one will be providing actually all the leave requests. So let's demonstrate that scenario. Let's say hi to the bot. So the bot will go back and reply, and we could also see the movement of the bot as well at the same time from the right side. So it will be showing us the movement as well, because you can track between topics. So it will actually track which topic we are in. So now it's saying, hi, I'm a virtual agent. How can I help you with your leave request? And how can I help you today? And there's two actually services. So to inquire about the leave request, or to discuss about the leave request. So you can choose whichever you want. So let's say to inquire about the leave request in this case, and then we need to give the username. So let's say, since I'm Kelly Kraut, we're acting as Kelly Kraut, so we'll just say Kelly Kraut in this case. So that what will happen is it'll does an action. So that's what we were talking about earlier, that it can do an action, actually just not only answering questions. So it actually connects to Power Automate, and then it'll bring in back, right? Bring in back that capability of giving actions on top of what you're requesting. So that's what happens. So the leave request actually, uh, the bot returned me the reply saying, I have sent the leave request summary to your inbox. Please help to check your email. So that means it has been actually sent to Kelly's email. So if we look at Kelly's email now, just to see what has happened. So it actually go and fetch from the system all the leave requests which Kelly has done, and then it simply has returned the table, kind of a view. But you could actually do good styling with it, and then you could probably have a better looking table. So you can do a lot with that as well. So this is just to explain the concept in terms of how we can do that, and also bring in that action part of the Power Virtual Agent, right? So that's how that's been ended. So then we can ask if there are any other queries. Then we can say no, I'm happy with it. So then it will go back and evaluate where inside the topics that we are, and if that answer your question, I say yes, I'm happy with that. And then it will go back into the loop, and then it will find which is the condition, and it will redirect back, and then we can actually say, okay, I'm happy with it, I can give my rating, right? So that's the rating I gave. Excellent. So that's actually the Power Virtual Agents.
How Power BI helps organizations to turn their unrelated sources of data into visually immersive and interactive insights.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, Prabha. And Power BI is a business analytics service which provides you to visualize your data, right? And also, it actually gives you actionable insight. So that's what actually is important in terms of business, right? Because we need actionable insight. If you have actionable insight, it adds great business value, right? And which can be utilized to bring great value to your customers. So that's the key idea behind it. So bringing actionable insight. So how you can bring these actionable insight? Okay, if we look at an example, right? For an example, like there could be a scenario where businesses, right, won't, for an example, like to connect with your legacy systems and mash up with your modern ERP or CRM like D365, finance and operations like that. So how you can mash up and how you can build AI and ML algorithms which can bring actionable insights to your users. So that's going to be the key. So that's going to be what we need actually. What Power BI can provide you. So because it's really rich, you can connect to Databricks or you can connect to Azure Synapse Analytics, and you can actually keep your data in Azure Data Lake in terms of legacy. And if you want to mesh up with legacy and ERP and CRM data, you can actually keep it in the Azure Data Lake. So that's not been possible earlier, right? If you look at few years time, it's going to be really that you have to spend a lot of effort and time in order to do that kind of activity. But now it's really easy because you have Azure Data Lake and action Azure Data Lake, and then you have all the other capabilities that you can be the products that you can link with it. So that's the real beauty of the Power BI. So it's really rich in that purpose.
What is the real requirement to have a no-code, low-code platform like Power?
Yeah, that it's actually been changing in terms of the how the world is looking at development part of it. So no code, low code platforms such as Power Apps is actually building, actually helping to build these new applications very fast, right? If you look at real reason behind, like the researchers have highlighted that there will be more than around 500 million new apps created within next 5 years, and surprisingly that it is more than all apps that we have built in 40 years time. So also the demand for the mobile apps are growing in such a fast space, and it's probably been 5x faster than IT departments can deliver. So there's been a lot of requirements coming to develop, but there's very few people who can do it, who can deliver it, because there's not enough developers, right? So and also Gartner is actually predicting like there's 65%, over 65% of application development will be in low code category by 2024. So this is the real reason why businesses must invest on these technologies and empower their users to learn these skills.
Kasun, would you able to explain one or two scenarios where we can use Power Automate?
Like what we have shown here, the Power Automate in several scenarios that we've used in the demo that we have shown. And probably I can go back to the solution that we were having then and show you what we were doing in that in terms of the Power Automate, so that will be much clearer for the our audience. This is the flow that we will be using actually. So there have been two flows we use. So request the sick leave. So that's where the flow which we used earlier. So from the mobile application, Kelly actually log into the application and then actually use the Power Apps in order to send that request back to the common data service and create the data. So that's creating a record in the common data service. And this is actually coming from request is coming from the Power Apps. So Power Apps is passing these fields from date to date, title, employee name, email, and lead type. So this is one example of how we can look at it. So this is how we utilized in the demo part of it. And if you look at it in a real scenario, what we do is something, for an example, like if you have an ERP system like Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, right? Then you would probably need to have some robust mechanism of approvals if you want to build, like probably maybe you want to create an item, but you need to have an approval mechanism which is not coming out of the standard, and you need to extend it, and then you can use this Power Automate to do that, and then you can actually build that automation part of it, and then you can actually extend it. So that's just kind of an example that how you can extend it. So it's actually to extend uh, ERP and CRM capabilities using the Power Domain. So you could actually embrace that. So it's not only restricting to ERP and CRM, but if you're an Office user, if you're a user who's doing the other part of the business, the platform, maybe SharePoint. So you could still utilize it, and you can actually leverage on it. And that's the other one that actually which we were using. If you look at the other flow that we were using, So we actually managed back to send an approval from email to the team. So that's where the capability is coming in. So it's not actually restricted by the product because there's 300 plus connectors. So you could actually do real real good capabilities around that. So this is actually a flow that we did. So when we create a record, it start an approval, and then there's a condition which we'll look at. Response is equal to approve. So if it's approved, then it will send an email, and then it's posting a message. So that's actually communicating back to the team. So it's really rich scenario, right? In that sense. So Power Automate is really capable of handling those kind of example some scenarios, and you can build a number of different scenarios. So these are some examples, but yeah, there's a lot more you can do with it.
Power Virtual Agents and Power Portals are the latest members of Power Platform family. How they can really help the digital transformation of an organization.
So Power Virtual Agent is actually is where that it can help businesses to build in kind of a intelligent chatbots where they can leverage on, like, and you can probably reduce some part of the um, the mundane task that you need to do. So you could actually use a virtual agent to help that. You can actually use Power Virtual Agent to answer the question Q&A kind of a bot you can build, and then probably if you want to take the example that which we did, like with, giving the employee capability of getting back all the requests that they have done without asking back from an employee from the HR department, and they send it back, so that it saves a lot of time for some of the departments, so that because it actually really changing in terms of digitally transforming the company, so that you could actually leverage on the capability which brings from having a bot which can do a lot of different tasks. You can actually integrate cognitive services as well. Like, it's not, and if you have you know uh, skills built on top of it, then you can actually get it back, and then if you want to publish to different channels, you can publish to teams, different various Facebook, what, so you can actually use these different channels actually to submit. And there's a lot of strong platforms behind Power Virtual Agents, that because it is behind the bot framework, and so that there's a lot of things that can support it, and so it's really feature wise, it can bring a lot of different capabilities to the businesses, and then they can leverage on that. And also, if you look at the Power Apps part of it, Power Apps portal part of it, it's actually a web development platform, and it actually enables external users to access and interact with the common data service. So you could expose your common data service entity data to the external parties. So it could be something like uh, that would be like for example, like if you have like um, cases, or maybe like complaints or something like that, probably you can expose to external parties, and then external parties can also view that these entities. So they can actually access the website, or from the Power Portal website, using anonymously or using some authentication as well. So one of that's where it's really you can you can have that you can have that capability of integrating those things together, so that it really gives a value to the business, because they can have a platform where the external and the internal parties can communicate and share data, and then it brings real value, because it removes unnecessary communication and stuff like that, because there's single point of truth is there, so that they can access, and everybody can yeah, leverage on top of those information. So that's where it's really powerful in that sense, that Power Apps portal, and it's a really rich web development platform which Microsoft brings, and it's a low code web development platform, and we can really leverage on that.